Hello. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We will be talking about Game 3 of Avs versus Stars in a little bit here. But obviously, as I'm sure most of you know, or if you don't know, there was an incident at the DNVR bar last night. Thankfully, everyone is, for the most part, okay. But it was still a thing that happened. So, AJ, I know you want to talk about it a little bit, and we'll get this out of the way.
Yeah. So it's important that we start today's show by addressing the events that took place on last night's watch-along, and I'd like to do that personally right now. I deeply value our audience and the community that we've built. Transparency and honesty are pillars of who I am, not just as a DNVR employee, but as a human being. For those who may be unaware, a stranger came onto the set last night asking for AJ. I had no idea who this man was, but due to his unexpected appearance and aggressive demeanor, identified the potential for some sort of disturbance and attempted to direct him off screen to find out what was going on. He instead chose to attack me and shout disturbing allegations, which are absolutely untrue. He was subdued by those around me, and law enforcement was called to the scene. I'm just as confused as all of you as to his motivations and the origins of his allegations, but I can say with absolute certainty that they do not involve me. There is an ongoing investigation with the police, and he is currently in custody. I can promise you that I would never, ever harm a woman, and I am disgusted by the allegations. I will not be making further comment on this situation because of everything that happened. I did not see the end of the game, and therefore will not be participating in the rest of today's show. And for my safety, I will not be appearing on podcasts in the near future.
Okay. Yep. Obviously, that's the situation. It is what it is. We're going to do our best to talk about the game and move on, but we felt it important to talk about it first. Okay. Avs do lose Game 3, 2-1 to the Dallas Stars in overtime in a game where we'll get into some of the numbers, we'll get into the Avs' underlying play and things like that. But frankly, I think we should start the conversation about this game. This was supposed to be a game where the Avs showed up. If there was going to be a problem in this game, my expectation was the Avs had too much in her. They were too juiced. They were too ready for Landeskog's return. Maybe took some unnecessary penalties, maybe went crazy. And we kind of got the opposite. Through 2 periods of this game, the Avs were struggling.
Well, to be honest with you, we tell chat, meaning Bruno, myself, all of us before the game, we're saying, let's take a pause here for a second. Like Gabe Landeskog's return it's magnificent.
Yeah,
I mean,
the landing part was great.
That's my point.
That part was great.
That's what I'm saying. It was phenomenal, right? So,
yeah.
and even for me, meaning being there when Gabe became an Av, and I have a soft spot for him, that, and so proud of what he's become. First of all, as a franchise leader, as a captain, as a father, as a husband, and then what he went through these past 3 years is just not something that you see every day. So it's pretty spectacular. It's pretty awesome. I think the city, the Avalanche and the Avalanche Nation should be proud of the way they welcomed them back. I thought it was awesome. It was national news. It was quite frankly amazing. With that said, that's what I'm trying to say. We were talking beforehand, saying how they going to manage that, because he's so amped up, you know what I mean? And you want to have controlled emotions, and you don't want to go out there and be stupid and, take dumb penalties or whatever. So quite frankly, yeah, like you said, it kind of didn't end up being that way. We all know it's playoffs. We all know there's 2 teams out there. The Dallas Stars have a lot to say about all this. We get that. I get that. But I still would have liked to seen a little bit more juice, overall than what I witnessed. And that for me was, a little bit of a downer and what was a remarkable night, for Gabe Landeskog.
So let's balance the good with the bad in this, because I do think a decent portion of the good and the bad comes from the same source. Good. Gabe Landeskog looked great. Not just, hey, Gabe Landeskog's back. Looked great in that hockey game. Heavily physical, getting involved, making a lot of smart plays. Even when it came to jumping up in the rush, was doing a lot of things right. Unbelievable to see. It feels like what should be a great boost for the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, he needs to be able to be healthy. Hopefully, he's feeling good the following day. Hopefully, he can continue to play in this series for them. So that's awesome. Everything about Gabe Landeskog himself, awesome. Not so awesome. A guy that hasn't played hockey in nearly 3 years was arguably one of your best 3 players in this game.
Yeah, and that's kind of goes into what we're saying, and what you're saying right now. And it doesn't mesh well, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't mesh well. It doesn't make sense to me. And as awesome as it was, meaning like Gabe looked awesome. I mean, I was shocked. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I know he played in Loveland for a couple games. I know that, he fared well. And, again, it's the American Hockey League. Big difference with the NHL. And on top of that, playoffs. So I didn't really have any expectations. Just the fact that he was out there, I was so pumped, and like everyone. But expectations were that maybe his game was going to be so-so, and like I said to you before the game, I'm like, I don't care if it's so-so, it's just awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Totally.
But then again, it wasn't.
It was good.
It was really good.
Good hockey, genuinely.
And it was good. He did the simple things like you told me before, perfectly. And that's where I was like, you know what? It can only help him. Forget about the loss. We're talking about just him personally. Like, I think it can give him confidence and say, okay, I'm excited. I think he said it too. I'm excited to Saturday. I'm looking forward to Saturday. So I think we saw what and again, you always get a little bit of a downer usually after, injuries and guys come back, but this is so different. This is not, it's 3 years, whatever it is. I don't know. And it's playoffs. So there's no letdown, you know what I mean? And then hopefully a lot of guys take a page out of his book and, jump on the bandwagon with him. And then you really get out there and really leave it all out on the ice, because you never know when everything can be taken away from you, right? You know what I mean? And I think that you got the perfect example. Forget about last night and moving forward now. Just take whatever you can out of his page and really show up and be the best person you can be, best player you can be personally, which can obviously help the team to be better than what they've been.
Some more good news for you. That isn't actually good news. Dallas has led for a grand total of less than 70 seconds in this series.
I know.
And they're up 2-1 in the series. Is that reason for encouragement that the Avs have the ability to beat this team? Or is it concerning that the Avs are not finding ways to win games and in fact finding ways to lose them?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both, right? I mean, that's I think that's a good thing. That means you're down 2-1, but it's not like you've been outclassed, right? Mm-hmm. You're down 2-1 because in 2 of those games, well, one of them, you obviously won outright. What was it, 5-1, the first one? But in 2 of those games, meaning the last 2 games, you go into the third period, and we know how important it is, to keep a lead going into the third period and close out games. And the Avalanche is a team that's done that over the last few years. They've learned how to win. They've learned how to close out games. That hasn't been the case the last 2 games. And like I said, I know there's 2 teams. Dallas, you have to tip your hat to them. You know how hard it is to play when you've led for, like you said, 70 seconds? Like, I mean, and again, but you got to make sure you keep it close. You got to make sure you're striking, you're within 1 and to keep yourself in it. And then when the time comes, boom. I mean, I know we're going to talk about it and the power plays and everything.
Yeah,
but
we'll get into it.
But at the end of the day, Dallas Stars were down with 10 minutes to go in the third. They take advantage of a back-to-back power play. They don't convert on the first one, and they take advantage of another, which I thought was a bad penalty. But they strike and they put themselves back in the game where they can actually go win it, even though they've been trailing. And then overtime, we all know what happened.
I mean, I think there are plenty of problems at 5-on-5 too. But since you brought up the power play, Avs go 0 for 6. One of them was a 15-second power play, so it's really like 0 for 5. The actual numbers are less concerning than the fact that multiple times in the third period, the Avs had power plays where they could get a lead or put the game away, including a double minor that drifted into the first 3 minutes of overtime, and it does not get the job done. They seem incapable of getting the critical goal to win them games. I think this is a complicated topic. I think there are a lot of reasons for this, not least of which being Arturi Lehkonen not able to get a puck on a literally empty net. There's a defenseman in the way, but still. But what has gone wrong with the Avs power play? Look, they were 2 for 7 through the first 2 games. I'm not saying they had a good power play, but they were finding a way to produce at least. That production dried up, and you see they had 1 goal in this game.
My disappointment after game 2, remember I said my takeaway that I wanted to do every game, like, hey, my takeaway that on the plus side, my takeaway on the negative side. Well, remember, go back, my negative takeaway was I did not like that the Avs did not have the killer instinct at the end of the third and the start of the power play. Again, I'm talking about game 2, not game 3, to really step on the opposition's throat, make it down and score, and make it a 2-0 series lead.
Yep.
And control of the series, right? Well, that's my same disappointment now for game 3. You're having the end of the third period, and then even worse, you got over 3 minutes of power play to start the overtime, and you're doing the same thing. So for me, there's a lack of like killer instinct there, and I understand there was a couple chances there, and lucky, bad luck, and what's his name, Lindell, right? By the way, I hope Ottinger is going to buy him dinner, right? Because I was like, he owes him one, which is fine. That's what sports and hockey is, right? It's awesome. And Lindell does the right thing. He's in the right place, right time, and defends his goaltender that's in trouble. And he tips that puck wide. But that's bad luck. That's bad luck. See, I look at it differently, and I think Coach looks at it the same way. You shouldn't come down to that one play there. You should have had 5, 6, 7 opportunities.
Exactly.
I mean, that's where I'm disappointed. That's where I'm struggling a little bit with their power play. And somebody in chat was, talking about East-West. And we talked about it before the game. But we'll talk about that after. But on the power play side of things, for me, when you're struggling to score a goal and you're a scorer or you're a player, you haven't scored in a long time, simplify things. That's the number one word for me that's so important. Simplify and then get back to basics and do the little things right. So now if I look at that power play, if I'm trying to simplify, well, it's a very simple way to simplify. I don't care what league you're in, U8, U10, Pee Wee juniors, bring the puck up top and unleash. And you know what? It's going to create chaos. You're going to say, there's not X's and O's. No, right now, the X's and O's of the power play is not working. I don't know what they're trying to do. It's not working.
Clearly.
It's clearly not working. It's cost them the last 2 games. We talked about it this year, earlier in the season, and it was like, but the Avalanche were on a 10-1 run. Well, the power play is not hurting us. No, but it's at one point it will. It will hurt you. So, and I understand that going down to maybe 2 units yesterday. Obviously, you have 4 minute. You're not going to go 4 minutes straight. I just don't like the way to do. I don't like the way that they try to make that cross seam pass and that bumper play, and it hasn't worked. What works, and when it's brought up to the top and you shoot the puck, there's a tip, there's a rebound, you got to get engaged. Are you the hardest working team on the power play? If yes, then that's getting back to basics. They're not. Are you doing the little things right? Are you really taking the goalie's eyes away? Are you retrieving pucks to the fullest? Are you winning the draw so you don't lose 20 seconds or whatever it is? All the simple things. And then actually execute and want to be the guy.
And
Jamie Benn wanted to be the guy yesterday. He wanted to be the guy. He's their captain. And he said, wow, we didn't convert on that power play, but this second one, we're converting. And they did.
You're stepping into the next segment I want to talk about. We're going to have to do it after the break here. But the reality is the Avs' best players haven't been good enough, whether that's on the power play or 5-on-5. You are just simply not getting enough out of them. And it needs to be better, or the Avs are going to very quickly be out of this series.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I don't think that there's anybody that's more in love than us with the top guys of the Avalanche, right? We give them their praises, and we do. But with that comes the territory is that it's tough, and there's a lot of pressure, and you got to produce day in and day out. You're going to say, well, McKinnon got 9 shots yesterday. No, I get that. But at the end of the day, they didn't produce when they needed to produce. And it's hard to get mad at someone on I don't know, Logan O'Connor, he didn't score on the power play. Well, no, Grab, he doesn't play on the power play. So it falls down to the top guys.
Yeah.
And they need to produce and they need to nail down. That's not over. The series is not over. But yesterday and the game before, they failed to take control of the series. Now they're in the hole. Can they get out of it? Absolutely. We shall see.
It's work to do for sure, but we do need to pay a few bills here. So let's jump over and do that, as we are brought to you by Game Time. The Avs do have another game at home coming up this weekend here. If you want to go see it in person, make sure you're getting your tickets through Game Time to go experience that playoff atmosphere. With Game Time, you can get $20 off your first purchase when you sign up with the link in the description and use code DNVR when you sign up. Of course, terms apply, but you can get great deals with Game Time all the time. Make sure you're checking out their Game Time Picks feature to find the best seats for the best prices based on your search parameters. Of course, it doesn't have to be Avs hockey, though I do recommend you go to a playoff game. You can go to the Nuggets. You can go to a theater. You can go to other sporting events, whatever it might be. Game Time has tickets for everything. Join over 15 million people that use Game Time to get their tickets, and use that DNVR code to get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? It's Game Time, baby. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. Food at the arena, little overpriced.
Yeah.
Almost always. So instead of going and getting food at the arena on your way out there, make sure you hit up Raising Cane's. Go get yourself some delicious chicken fingers. You can order it right now online, or of course you can always go in store. They're hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers with crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and secret cane sauce that is made in-restaurant every single day. You hungry yet? Make sure you're diving in to Flavor Flav's Faves. What are you waiting for? It's Cane's o'clock. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365. This game at times felt a little bit weird. Nathan MacKinnon had 9 shots on goal in this game, which feels like a lot. But genuinely, how many of those had even a decent chance of going in the net? Maybe 1, maybe 2. There was a lot of empty minutes played by the Avs top guys in this hockey game.
I agree. You're only going to go as far as your top guys are going to go.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say. Yeah, but look, Logan O'Connor. No, I understand that. That's not normal that Logan O'Connor's been your best player. Or even Gabe, last game. Hasn't played in 3 years. Not normal. Your top guys have to perform, unfair or not.
Yep.
It comes with the territory. And those guys like it. And we have the real ones here in Denver. We do. They've done it. You know what I mean? And they're good people and they're good players. They're good leaders. But right now, they got to, you can't have another one of those nights. Oh, it just wasn't our night. And opportunities to go close out games, and you don't, because then you're going to be in real trouble.
Yep.
Right? You fall down 3-1, you're in real trouble. I'm not telling you it's over. It's never over until the 4th game is done. Now, that is for sure. But with that said, you got to make sure, and you got to play with a little bit of do or die mentality next game. And you really got to come up. And you have the best example in Gabe Landeskog right in your face. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you not bring your top of your A game? I mean, honestly, how can you not do it with that? What's in front of you? That's what was disappointing for me.
And who of the Avs top 6 forwards can you say played their A game yesterday? Maybe Nichushkin?
Yeah, I mean, he had that one big play, right? The goal.
I felt like he had some other good shifts. Obviously not enough, but at least he was involved. At least he was active. At least you felt like he was doing things in the offensive zone. When you look at the rest of the surrounding cast of the top 6, yes, Nathan MacKinnon at the end of the day is the superstar that you rely on to get it done, but you need more from Druin. You need more from Necas. You need more from Lehkonen.
Yeah.
The entire unit just seems problematic right now, and a lot of people wanted Bednar to switch up the lines. He did a little bit in last game, and it didn't really work. Where do you go from here if you're Colorado?
Well, for me, it's very simple. As a team, you got to make a decision. There was not a lot of room out there. There wasn't. Both teams really, played pretty tight, and there's not a lot of chances. And Max sprung free a couple times. Did he hit the net, not hit the net, and make a save? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, not enough times to make it a non-1-1 game, right? Playoffs are dirty. Playoffs are greasy. Playoffs are hard. That's why, people always say, like, you got to be willing to muck it up. You got to be willing to not be stubborn with your game. As much as the Dallas Stars have done a great job, like limiting and clogging and, making the Avs work for everything. But the Avs are doing the same thing to the Dallas Stars guys. Don't forget that.
I think people have a misconception here.
Yeah.
The idea that the Avs played poorly and that's the end of the story is not.
No.
There are two teams on the ice. Dallas is playing in a way that is forcing the Avs into playing poorly. Both of those things are true.
Well, look no further than the last goal. And I know I hate to give him praises, but I do love the player. I don't like the way it ended. But Mikko Rantanen, he's the one that makes the play. Mm-hmm. He fights off Joe Druin. He takes the puck away from Joe Druin. What does he do? He makes that simple bank chip off the board puck. A pass.
Same play you watch the Avs fire down the ice 4 times.
It's called execution. Mikko executes there.
Yep.
Fights off an Avalanche, happens to be Druin, but he just chips it. Marchman takes it. What does he do? Does he go to the blue line and cut across and make a turnover? No. He says, I'm going to go a little bit wide. I'm going to go back down low. And what does he do? He fights off one of the best defensive defenseman in the National Hockey League, Devon Tays. Mm-hmm. And he out-muscles him, out-battles him. And then you got Sagan that's coming that beats Cale to the net. Druin that came back, that's covered, he's struggling. He has no idea what what's going on. And then Marchman that we like to bash on, but he's been involved in the series, because we notice him. And he makes that play to Sagan, and then Sagan scores the same place as, Blackwell scored the game before, whatever we want to call it, and game's over.
Yep.
Right? And you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
You kill 4 penalties, 4 minutes of power. I'm sorry,
over.
but the game's over. It's like not scoring your 5-on-3. You know it's coming. And then if you don't think it's coming, then, I don't know what to tell you because it happens all the time. A little bit disappointing there because you want the Avalanche to all of a sudden make plays that are dirty, that are mucky, that are you're not going to be on ESPN like with the highlight reels. You're not. Like you will because it's an overtime goal, but it's not going to be on the highlight reel of, oh my God, the sickest play. Like for example, Logan scored, was it game 1, whatever it was. So, or game I don't remember, game 2. Game 2, sorry, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is you got to be willing to go put the working boots on and go play. And that's 5-on-5 and that's power play.
It's everywhere. And I do want to transition. I think we have a lot of valid criticism of the Avs top 6, but if you move to the back end, is this the worst playoff series of Cale Makar's career so far? Not that he's been unbelievably bad or anything, but for Cale Makar, he has been pretty unnoticeable in this series.
But you call it superstar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You always
I felt it a lot more in game 2. You really needed him, I think, more than in this one. But again, you talked about it. He gets beat to the net on the game-winning goal. The power play runs through Cale Makar, even if there are other problems there. It feels like the Avs superstars have come up short in this series, and I don't want to limit that to the forwards because I think it's true of Makar as well.
Yeah, and I love him. He's my favorite player in the National Hockey League, and probably will be. For a long time, or I love him. With that said, you need more from him. Yeah, if you want the Avalanche to win, you need more from him. And like I said earlier, you got to be willing to muck it up and grind it up. Like there's not a lot of room out there. I think both coaches have said it, but you got to find a way, Marty Necas. You got to find a way to make a play in the mud. You know what I mean, and not just rely on awesome skill and everything, and maybe that was the criticism in Carolina a little bit about his game. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he hasn't tried. He hasn't done anything, but
incredibly skilled.
But you got to be willing. You got to be able to make plays when it counts in dirty, tough areas, and in the in the mindset of a playoff type atmosphere, which is totally different than regular atmosphere. It's totally different. The stakes are so much higher.
I think I would adjust that statement to say, you don't necessarily, not everyone's built the same way. Not everyone has to be the guy that goes to the net front, mucks it up, is crazy physical or anything like that. But you do all need to be making the correct decisions. And I worry a lot about the decision making so far in this series.
Yes. And at the right time, Dallas has been better in the Avs. Hence the 2-1 series now, right? Again, they're missing Robo, they're missing Miro. Heiskanen, I don't know. Is he back next game? Maybe. I don't know. He's certainly skating out there. Certainly looks like a guy making his way back,
Maybe the Avs can return the favor for a return that doesn't go well.
Yeah, I know exactly. You know what I mean? And again, that's disappointing in that sense. Now, do I think that they're done and they're this and they're that? No, that's why it's a 7-game series. That's why you have the opportunity to erase what went wrong and to talk as a team and to figure it out. And you got to stick together when times are tough. It's easy to stick together when times are easy, right? You got to stick together when times are tough. You got to believe in what you're doing. Do I believe that the Avalanche, for example, top players will be clutch and come up with some big plays? Yes, I do believe that because history says that they will. And there's a lot of history here. And again, between Avalanche 1.0 and Avalanche 2.0. So you've seen those things. I've seen the power play go dry back then in those days. Look no further than that 0-1 series against LA for the older people in the chat. Like, all of a sudden their Avalanche were struck. They were up 3-1 in the series and they lost 2 straight games. It went dry. Like, I think they got shut out 2 games and, Felix Potvin. And then next thing you know, your power play absolutely stunk. Mm-hmm. Stunk until game 7. You got a big bomb. One-timer from Rob Blake, you know what I mean? That puts them back and makes them breathe and move on to go to play St. Louis and then give you a little bit of a breather and then play so much better and take a lot of pressure off you. So there is a little bit of pressure on the power play right now. There is. I mean, I don't care.
There should be. Yeah.
I don't care what people say. There should be. And there's got to be accountability. There's got to be like a little bit of like, what are we doing here? But for me, that's where I say it's not the personnel. They're artists. We know that. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they want the puck on their stick because they want to make a difference. But make a difference the right way. And I have some tendencies, and the tendencies should be back to the basics. Bringing it up top, shooting, pouncing for rebounds, and tipping. I don't care. Whoa, that is so dumb. No, that's what it is. But what about LA? Did you see their power play pick away Edmonton last night? Well, no, I understand that. They're right now, they're playing with confidence on the power play. Avalanche are not.
Yep.
So when you're not confident right now and you're gripping the stick on the power play for whatever the reason is, because they are. And if it was that easy, then they would have scored last night.
Yep.
And we wouldn't be talking about this. So it's not that easy. It's not like flipping a switch like we talk about. So all of a sudden, get back to the basics, get back to what you can make a difference and want to be that guy, but always go back on the same page, go back to the same tendencies, go back to the same, thought process, and then hard work pays off. Be the hardest working team of the special teams out there. Give Dallas credit. They're doing great on the PK. They are. Andre's doing great too. And then a little bit of luck. Yeah, it's an empty net by Lucky. Empty net, empty cage. He just hits the one part that Lindell is,
Look, the power play is what it is. It's far from the only problem in this game, though. There are other issues going on there, not least of which being you scored a goal. You took the lead in the first period, and you had a period where you were outshot 14-4 in the first. Like there are a lot of problems there, and yes, Dallas played good defense. Yes, they're smothering that. Okay,
sure.
You don't have a playoff team put 4 shots on goal entirely because you smothered them. You did, but they're also doing that to themselves some too. So the Avs have to find a way to play more effective hockey. They have to look at themselves here to do a little bit better.
Yep. And take a page out of that fourth line.
Yep.
It's north-south plays. Take a page out of the goal in overtime. Mikko Rantanen.
Yep.
One of the all-time Avalanche great. He's got all the records almost right there in the franchise record as a winger. He's up top. Like, he makes a stupid little puck battle. He wins it. Little chip off the board. Is that pretty? Sure was effective. And that's what you need to do in order to create opportunities for you to go and make a difference.
And the good news is, for as rough as we feel about the way the Avalanche played, this is 2 games in a row where you're 1 goal away from winning. It's not like the Avs have a mountain to climb here to have won these games. It's not like they got blown out.
They're still in this. They're still in this.
Absolutely still in it. But they have to show up and be a better team than they've been for the last 2 games if they want to be serious about winning this series. We do want to talk more about that. I want to talk to E more about that switch flip because I think that's a really interesting conversation right now. But we do need to take our break and pay a few bills here, as, of course, we are brought to you by the fantastic folks over at, oh God, I lost it. Hang on. Empire. Thank you, Tiff. Bailing me out. Empire today. Make sure you get with them. I think we can all agree The floor was not solid for the Avs in that last game. They needed a better foundation to their game, and Empire Today will give you a better foundation. Go get your new floors and get $350 off today at empiretoday.com/DNVR. You can get with them. They only carry the best products, no junk, so you won't get any bad stuff. Whether it's tile, whether it's hardwood, whether it's carpet, they have the best products out there. They'll even come out to your house and give you a free in-home estimate, show you your flooring in your space so you can see what it looks like. Highly recommend. Professional installers, they're absolutely awesome. If you haven't been with them, go do it today. You can even check them out online and use their online tools to get an idea of what things might be for you. Go get with them. Again, make sure you go to empiretoday.com/DNVR to get those $350 off, or use code DNVR when you head over there. Of course, you can always call 1-800-588-2300 Empire. Terms and conditions apply too, of course. But, use the DNVR code. Let them know we sent you over there. And then we're brought to you by UC Health. Make sure you jump on with UC Health. With them, they just want to make sure you're living like there is a tomorrow. So whether your health is physical, whether it's mental, whether it's sleep, whether it's joint pain, whether it's bones, whatever it is, UC Health does it all for you. They even got children's hospitals and things like that. So make sure you're getting with them. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Head on over to uchealth.org. UC Health, the official health partner of the Colorado Avalanche. UC Health, live extraordinary. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, which also, by the way, consider becoming a DNVR diehard right now. Help support us. We still do have our $36 annual sale for the NFL draft. Jump in with that. It's a great deal. You can jump in. You
Draft's tonight, right?
Tomorrow, I believe.
All right, 1 minute.
Yeah, they're like doing mock drafts and stuff. So lots of coverage if that's your thing. Make sure you go check that out. And you get access to all of our amazing content with the Die Hard membership, plus new shirts and other stuff. All right. It is now Just in Time with Justin Michael, presented by Bet365. You were in the arena for that a tough loss there. What was the vibe in that game? Obviously, the end, I think everyone is pretty down about, but was there at least good vibes in the arena for most of the game with the Landy return?
Yeah, I mean, for much of the night, it was a full-on celebration. I would say the buzz, 45 minutes, an hour, even leading up to the game, was something I've never quite experienced for a game of any level. I mean, I've covered some pretty special events. I've been to some pretty fun sporting events in my life, AFC championships, NCAA tournament games, the Rockies tiebreakers. Like, I've been to some cool stuff. And there was just a unique energy and excitement for what is genuinely one of the coolest storylines in NHL history. And obviously, the way that the game played out was a total bummer. It felt inevitable, as you guys said earlier. Once you don't capitalize on that double minor, second straight game, you have an opportunity on the power play that bleeds into overtime, and you don't score. You're playing with fate at that point, and it ended in a really brutal fashion. But the return itself was just incredible. And I wrote last night, you can go check it out on the website. You don't have to be a diehard. It's open for everybody, about the return specifically, and just kind of how this special night was greater than one single outcome. Obviously, it has major implications on the series, but all things considered, I do hope that Avs fans can at least keep some perspective of just how remarkable this story was.
I think they showed on the broadcast he was the second or third longest time in between leaving the NHL and returning for a game, which is outrageous. Like the other guys on that list, including ex-Av Peter Forsberg. So a great shout out to not underestimate how crazy the Landeskog story is. He talked about it after the game. I know you were in there, and there's an underlying roughness of this with the loss, but it did at least seem like Landeskog was in a good spot, given, hey, that's the first game he's played in nearly 3 years.
I think that's the biggest silver lining of the night, right? Outside of the fact that you basically left for the entire game and lost again, which is a positive or a negative, depending on how you look at it. I guess you didn't get your butts kicked, but you're also not finding a way to finish. At the same time, yeah, I mean, I thought surpassed even the wildest of expectations going in.
Agreed.
Looked significantly better than he looked even in Loveland, playing with the Eagles. he had really strong third period in that second game. I know everybody was fixated on the first game, but I actually thought that third period of the second game with the conditioning stint with the Eagles was much more close to what we saw from him in this one, which was basically typical Gabe Landeskog, getting involved in every aspect of the game. The physicality was there. He led the team in hits, leveled Mikko 30 seconds into the game, which was awesome. At that point, I'm still riding high, fully expecting it to be this like storyline straight out of a Disney movie, and to an extent it still was. Just again, this was such a remarkable moment, but it's just frustrating that with an opportunity to take control of the series here, we're not seeing enough from the top lines, and I know you guys have hit on a lot of this, so I'm not trying to get too repetitive or anything like that, but you need more from the power play. When you go 0-6 on the power play on your home ice, you're not going to win very often. Yeah. I cover a lot of football, and it's kind of like if you're in the red zone 5 times, you kick 4 field goals and throw an interception, you're probably not going to win that game. You were in a perfect chance to capitalize, especially late in the game, could have stepped on their throat, and you played with fire and you got burned.
What's the balance in the Avs locker room of this? You mentioned, hey, there's a lot of stuff you can take from this game depending on what angle you view it from, as a positive or a negative. Are the players looking at this as, hey, we played pretty well, we just need to tighten things up, or do they feel like they have a lot of work to do?
I think there was a solemnness post-game last night that was not there after the Game 2 loss. I feel like after the Game 2 loss, despite the outcome, there was a lot of, we split, we did what we were supposed to. This one felt a little bit more like a letdown, and I'm sure the Landeskog return played into that. These guys are human. They want to win for Gabe. They want to capitalize in that moment. But I will say I don't think there's any panic. Like we heard from Bednar, we heard from Makar, we heard from Blackwood. All of them said something along the lines of, we've been right there in every game. These have all been coin flip matchups. If we tie things in Game 4, we're right there. It basically sets you up for a best of 3. But I mean, I think it's at least human. I know these teams are different. I know it's not the same groups, but it's got to at least be lingering in the back of the minds of some of these guys that have been around. I mean, it's no secret the success that Pete DeBoer has had against Jared Bednar. And when you look at what he's doing to kind of limit the Avs offensively right now, it's very impressive. I will say, and I know Eric was talking about this earlier, it was very tight both ways. Like, I don't think the Avs gave up a ton of, high scoring chances the other way. It's not like they played incredibly poorly. They're a step slow offensively. They're getting beat to the pucks. The passes are just off. Their shots aren't on target. Like it feels like they're right there. They have opportunities to make plays. You've just got to execute now.
I think it's a really good analogy with the coin flip games. And when the coin comes up tails, this is what, 4 home games against the Dallas Stars in a row in the playoffs that they've lost and only scored 1 goal in. It starts to feel like that coin might be a little bit rigged and the Avs just can't figure this team out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously still hopeful. I wrote after Game 1 that I believe Jared Bednar is the greatest coach in franchise history, and I still believe that. But there's something about this matchup with Pete DeBoer that goes back to like San Jose in 2019 or whatever that has just seemed to cause the Avalanche's top guys issues. They don't go out there and look like the team we're accustomed to seeing in this matchup. And that's a testament to Dallas. They're an incredible team. Like, I don't think anybody thought this was going to be a cakewalk. If you thought it was going to be a sweep after Game 1, probably, have not watched enough playoff hockey over the years. But I'm trying not to get too doom and gloom because it is 2-1, and you do have, Game 4 and Game 6 at home. So even the fact that you have to go back out on the road, so long as you can extend the series, you still have a couple of opportunities here in your building where historically you're dominant. I just think it all comes down to those top guys, and I think they're only going to go as far as McKinnon and Makar carry them, and I think that's true in most sports, right? Like you're only going to go far as your quarterback takes you. The Nuggets are only going to go far as Jokic is able to take them. You need your stars to shine brightest, and especially on the power play. I just think that's very concerning. Like, you look at that 2022 run, McKinnon had 6 power play goals. You look at the last 2 years, he had 1 combined. So it seemed like things were trending in the right direction after the first 2 games because he had a couple of them. But it's just really gone quiet since then. And I think that's the big key. You capitalize on some of these opportunities. Maybe these coin flip games go the other way.
The dumbest smart thing I say regularly on this podcast is your best players need to be your best players.
That is a fact. But again, I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked because Justin just brought it up, but we talked about it and I read it, and 4 in a row that you're losing at home to the Dallas Stars. For me, I'm shocked.
Scored in each game.
That's what I'm saying. I'm shocked. And hats off to the Dallas Stars. Hats off to them. I am not. I understand. They have a big word. Absolutely. They have a big word to say in all this. My only other question is to both of you. We know that the next game is Saturday. Today's Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Your thought process on this 2-day break, beneficial or hurtful for the Avalanche?
It depends on how they take it, right? On one hand, they stew in this for 2 days. They get a little extra angry. They show up and play the way they're supposed to. Great. On the other hand, if they sit in it and get down on themselves and can't figure it out, it could get ugly. So I know that's a cop-out answer, but
I'm going to go positive. I'm going to say they've got a veteran presence that can probably use the extra day from a rest standpoint. And they have a head coach who's a meticulous maniac behind the scenes in terms of his preparation process. And I think they're going to hit the film hard, and I think that includes the top guys too. So, hopefully it allows them to solve this mystery that seems to be Dallas and what they're able to do to limit the offensive potency of a team that should be very, very good, especially on their home ice. It's been odd. It's confusing. And I thought you guys hit it right on the head early on in the show. And if anything, I thought the issue would be they'd be too buzzed out there. Like taking dumb penalties because everybody's too amped, or, just playing undisciplined out of sheer just overexcitedness. And instead, it almost felt like, I don't want to say lethargic. I think that's too far, because I think especially on the defensive side, they played pretty well. But whatever it is offensively, they've just got to solve this or they're going home. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
And I'll answer my own question too.
It.
Like I think as a player, easier to take those next 2 days. And Justin said it. They have a good leadership group. They have some experience in that locker room. If you're new, maybe it's a little different, but you rely on those other guys to really help you through it. It's such a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster. It's hard. I think as a player, it's easier to just walk away from the rink and then just go about your day today. Like if you're, I don't know, take your dog, go for a walk in Wash Park, and just get away from the rink. It's so intense. It's so crazy. And then get ready to have a good work day tomorrow, like film session, work day, whatever it is. Whatever needs you to get ready. I mean, again, this is the end of the year. I don't care if you practice or not. You're not going to solve anything. But you might solve something in the video room and then obviously in the team meeting and talk about things. But on the ice, it is what it is. Get your legs going. Now, as far as coaches and management, totally different. It is so hard. It is so hard. Bednar and company, they're looking at that stuff today. And that's their job, to get their team ready to go tomorrow for address whatever went wrong. And what are we looking forward to? And that's a tough thing to do. And hopefully they can nail their day tomorrow as a group, and then obviously nail their day today. Players stepping away from the rink, and then coaches getting everything ready for tomorrow.
In some ways, I do think it helps to simplify. You're down 2-1 in the series. Are you eliminated? No. Then win the next game.
That's it.
Don't look any further than that.
I love your answer.
Justin, final thoughts here, and we'll let you go.
You just need more from the top group.
Yep.
I think the fact that Landeskog played so well is encouraging. And if you get what you should get out of those top guys, having him as just an extra weapon in your arsenal should be a major advantage for this team. But if the best player on the ice is the guy who hasn't been on the ice in 1,032 days, you're not going to win this series. It can't be, the hope can't be, oh my gosh, Landeskog is going to save the day and score, 3 goals the next couple of days and just do some superhero shit. I think he's capable of having some big moments. I don't think he showed any signs of limitation. I thought everything that we saw out of him was great, and there'll probably be some regression in that regard too. Like it's going to be a bit of an ebb and flow process as he gets into the flow of things here. But I would say they've got to challenge that top line, especially to step up. And in particular, you've got 2 of the best 5 players in the world. They need to play like it.
Absolutely. Nailed it on the head. We'll leave it there as we do have a few more bills to pay. But thank you for calling in, Justin, as this has been the Just in Time presented by 365. And our next presenting sponsor is also Bet365. You can get in on them. Look, if you're not a believer, go bet against the Avs. Go make some money at least. If you're going to be mad about the Avs losing and being bad, at least you could be up some cash with Bet365. If you are a believer, maybe put your money where your mouth is. Go get some money that way. Nathan MacKinnon sure hits the over on shots every single night, even when he's maybe not playing his best. So that's always an option for you. Make sure you get in with Bet365 and the DNVR 365 code today. You do that. You put $10 in your account. You bet $5 on anything. Win or lose, you get $150 in bonus bets to play with. You can take that bet on Avs games. You can bet on the Rockies to lose, probably. I don't think you'd even get good money on that, but you could do it. You can bet on the Nuggets playoff series too. Whatever it might be, make sure you do with Bet365. Use that DNVR 365 code. And of course, when you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or somebody knows a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Once you've used your bonus bets, had a little bit of fun, maybe you have a little extra cash, go get yourself signed up for Volo. You know what? When you're mad about sports, sometimes the best way to blow off some steam, play a little sports. Burn it off a little bit. Get in with Volo. They're the most popular provider of adult social sports leagues, pickup games, and events. They have a ton of different sports: soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and more. They're all over the city of Denver, Lodo, Rhino, Highland, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway. A bunch of other places too, including in other cities. Pretty much every major city has a Volo chapter, so go check it out wherever you might be. You can meet new people, make friends, and be social, and you can also stay active in a more fun way. Players can sign up as a free agent with a small group or with an entire team at any ability level and background, and you're welcome to join. Make sure you use code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league when you do sign up. Fourth period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's actually hear from Coach. Let's hear from Jared Bednar first, and then we'll talk about this last conversation I want to have. Coach obviously knows the Avs need to be better.
Questions for head coach Jared Bednar. Jesse?
Coach, you guys found yourself with a chance to win that game there in overtime on the power play. It seemed like there was just not a lot of room out there all night, and then you struggled on the power play. How did you see this one play out?
Yeah, I think, that's what you can expect, like, not a lot of room out there on either side of it, right? Like, so someone's got to make and have an exceptional effort. 5 guys all on the same page, everyone doing the right thing, and then you still got to be able to beat their coverage in order to create scoring chances. So it was a slugfest. Like, when it comes to creating quality scoring chances on both sides of it, I thought we were much better defending tonight than we were game 2 in Dallas. And we just kept grinding, trying to chip away at some scoring chances, and I thought we did a good job of that too, So fine margin for error, and I would say, like, first period, I didn't like our execution. There was a lot of turned over pucks that, I think we're in the right places, doing the right things. Their execution just wasn't great. And then we kind of found our game and got it going a little bit better as the game went on. And you got a few chances to win it on the power play, and you come up empty. So that's the difference tonight, So we'll look at it and improve upon it. But I think there's some good things that we did tonight that we can take moving forward.
Bailey and Justin.
Coach, I feel like we've been asking the question for 3 years now, but we finally get to ask, what was your thought on Gabe tonight, and what does that do for the team?
Well, it helps. There's no question it helps, especially if he can play like that, right? So, I've talked a lot about his return already. It was great to have him back. I thought the building was incredible, like right from the start of the game, the energy, they embraced him coming back. as they should, and it was great to see. I think I was really happy with the way he played. I thought he had great, like he was physical right away, involved right away in a lot of different aspects of our game, and I was pleasantly surprised with the poise he showed with the puck and being able to make plays. It's happening fast, there's not a lot of room, but he looked pretty relaxed and made a lot of plays for us tonight.
Justin.
You said the other night that you needed a lot more out of the second line. Just what did you see from them tonight, and really the top six forwards in general?
Yeah, well, we changed our lines, so I mean, I liked the way those guys worked tonight. I can't deny it. I thought Val and Lucky and Nelly had a good night from the second line. They did some good things out there. They worked hard. They forechecked hard. They had a couple good looks, and I bounced the lines around a little bit. So it's hard to say. I have to like kind of go back and go through it.
John, back there.
Coach, Dallas has led for 62 seconds in regulation over 3 games.
Yeah.
How do you process that, and what's your messaging to your guys?
Well, the message is simple. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We're playing one of the top teams in the league, right? So you have to keep studying the game, trying to pick up any little tidbits that can help us moving forward, things that we got to do better, things that we like that we're doing. We relay the tactical part of it. And like it is what it is. It's a slugfest. So we went in there, won game 1. They won game 2. Now they came in here and won game 1. Now it's up to us to go win game 2. It's like it's a 7-game series for a reason. And sure, you'd love to get out of it and make it easy and get out of it in 4 or 5 or 6, but the reality of it is it's the first team to 4, and we're still in this series.
Eric and Corey.
I know it ranges over multiple seasons, but 4 straight losses at home to Dallas with the series last year, 3 wins out of your last 11 at Ball Arena in the playoffs. Like, do you guys track those? Do you worry about things like that, or is that just one of those weird coincidences?
Well, I don't track it. We're focused on tonight's game, and we'll get focused on the next game. That's our job. If we're starting to worry about all that kind of stuff, then our heads won't be in the right place.
Corey.
What needs to be better on the power play?
Everything.
Jesse.
What have you thought of Marty Netchus through 3 games in particular tonight?
I really liked him game 1. I thought he was a little quieter in game 2, and tonight, again, I'd rather look back at it and kind of study it. But like, I thought he did some good things, at times, maybe a little inconsistent tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jared.
Yep, thanks.
I don't tell you this often. I think you might have been right, buddy.
The switch?
The switch. And then look, after game 1, I felt great. I felt, you know what? The Avs turned the switch back on just like I thought they would. We're good. Game 2 was maybe a little bit in the middle. You felt like at least the first half of that game, it looked pretty good. Game 3, switch was off. It was all the way off, buddy.
I agree, and I hate that because you and me argue for love all the time. Because no, but it's true. But it's whatever. It's always in a good fashion, of course. But I you won me over in that one. Remember? And I still
game 1 helped a lot with that.
Yeah, I'm still in that boat. I'm still that you won me over. I'm not worried about it. I got nervous and I'm getting nervous. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? Once you lose it, like once you lose it, you know what I mean? And it's the momentum, it's the confidence. It's tough to get it back.
Yeah.
And that's all part of the switch and that we were talking about. And then you just all of a sudden go silent. You know what I mean? And there was parts yesterday where you're right. It sounded like that. Like it's like there was nothing there. As much as you want to give credit to Dallas, because we should, because they've been awesome. You're going to say, well, my God, 60 seconds. You know what I mean? That's all they've led. Like, no, but the Avalanche, for me, is the better team. But you just have to show it. And they haven't shown it. And I think you're talking about ceiling, and we talk about that all the time, floor and ceiling. I do believe that the floor, the ceiling, the Dallas is closer to their ceiling than the Avalanche are after 2 games. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So I think that's the truth, and I'm hoping that you see a real ceiling game. Saturday.
I'm sorry, but if you think the Avs have played better than a C game in the last two, game 1 they probably played B plus. Fine.
Yeah,
Game 2 and 3, if you think they played better than a C, I just disagree.
They got more.
And Dallas outplayed them. They deserve all the credit. But you know the Avs can play significantly better than they've played so far in this series.
And I think it starts individually, you know what I mean? And then obviously collectively they can be better. They can bring in more gas, you know, in both fronts, like individuals and as a team. I do believe you see it Saturday. I don't believe that my switch, you know, that we were talking about that was scaring me is there. It's been there a little bit. I don't think it's permanently there. I think that leadership goes a long way. It's the end of the world when you lose a game, and then it's so euphoric when you win a game. But the reality is, as players, you got to be even keel. Yep. And once you've done it, once you've lived it, once you've been there, and we all know the Avalanche have guys like that, most of them, then they're not going to get too high, not going to get too low. I think we do, you know what I mean? Like, because it's hard.
That's
really
part of the fun of being a fan.
We as fans, I'm talking about, you know, and that's sports, right?
Yep.
That's why we watch sports. It's awesome. I do believe that, you know, they're even keeled. They're not as down as we are.
For sure.
And I expect a better A game from the Avalanche, or, you know, then you're in trouble.
All right. Let's get the super chats and let's wrap this bad boy up. Well, we got like 3 or something, I think. $2 from Colton, who says, I love you all. I am glad you're okay. Appreciate that, Colton.
Thank you.
$5 from Andrew, who says, we love you, AJ Rudo and Micah. Good work stepping up. Don't need to read. Well, we read it, but appreciate the love. And then $2 from Twister, who says, are the Avs cooked? Do you think they can still win? Absolutely think they can still win. I picked the Avs in 6. So if they win the next 3, it's Avs in 6, which, like, do you believe the Avs can win 3 of the next 4 games? I do.
Absolutely. I do.
They can't do it playing like they have, but they can do it. They can play better.
Yeah.
They have to go out and do it. That's all it boils down to. They've made their lives hard now, but it's far from over. Even if they lose another game, this series is still not over. But like I said, there's some simplification has to happen. Stop. You got to clear the noise, win the next game. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I mean, and is it hard? Absolutely. And you think Dallas is just not going to have their A game and roll? We got this, you know, we'll take the split. Yep. No, that's what they're going to say if they lose.
Yep.
But because that's what you should say. But their goal in there is going to go in there. Let's take both.
Yep.
And then we're in control of this. It's not over, but we're in real control of the situation. So again, 2 ways to look at it. 2 teams that have a lot to say in what's going to happen Saturday. Hopefully the Avalanche have a lot more than the Dallas Stars to say on the outcome of the game.
What's that? Oh, one more super chat. Cool. $5 from Anthony, who says DeBoer's staff is out coaching Bedsy's staff right now. His line and power play. Okay. I mean, I think there have been adjustments made, right? Bedsy did swap up stuff on the top 2 lines. Yeah. It just obviously didn't connect.
He took Val, right? On the power play and swapped it with Lecky on PP1.
Yeah. At 5-on-5, Druin got moved up to the top line and it just didn't work.
Gabe got in, obviously, in the lineup.
At the end of the 3rd period, he was running Gabe out there with McKinnon at times even. So,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do, coaches. I mean, but it comes down to the players got to play and they got to execute.
Yep.
You know, I think the big word tomorrow is Saturday, not tomorrow. Execute.
Look, and if Dallas outplays them for 2 more games, then they lose. Like
that's it.
Not everything has to be a complicated conversation of analytics and statistics, and this is what you have to do.
You got to go out and play.
Go be better than the other team.
That's it. You got to go out, play, execute, work, and go from there.
Yep.
Make plays.
Bang on. So it is what it is. Obviously not the spot you want to be in is the Avalanche, but it does not mean that it is all said and done. If you win on Saturday, your series is 2-2. You're in a best of 3. As the lower seed, I know the Avs have higher expectations than that, but that's not the worst case. No. Now, if you lose on Saturday, you're in big, big trouble. So don't lose on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, what a statement that is, right? By both of us. Like, and I'm going to be like, hey, if they win, they're in great shape.
Yeah, perfect. Honestly, I think that's a great way to leave the show. So we'll wrap things up here. Obviously, our schedule is a little bit weird right now. We probably will have a show pre-recorded for you tomorrow. So tune into that, and then obviously we'll be back Saturday. So this has been the DNVR Avalanche Show presented by Bet365. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.